So, you've decided you want to play Dungeons and Dragons, but you don't know where to start? Well, luckily for you, we've got you covered. Before you can run off and start your adventure, you first have to decide what you want to be. Do you want to be a large warrior wielding a giant sword? Then maybe look to fighter or barbarian. Do you want to wear a cloak, stay in the shadows, maybe hit people with some arrows? Look at ranger or rogue. Maybe you want to wield the word of your deity. In that case, you should take a look at cleric or paladin. If you want to march into battle with arcane spells on your lips, then maybe take a look at wizard or sorcerer. You may be going into battle against vicious orcs, unnatural members of the undead, legendary minotaurs, or, as the game's name suggests, dragons themselves. But before you can do any of that, you've got to get acquainted with the basics of the D20 system. In a D20 system, you'll be playing with multiple different types of dice. The first being the 20-sided dice, the second being the 12-sided dice, then there's a 10-sided, an 8-sided, a 6-sided, and finally a 4-sided dice. The D20 really sits apart from the rest of these dice because the D20 is used to determine success in any of your activities, whereas, generally speaking, the rest of the dice determine the quality of your success. If you are rolling a 20-sided dice and you happen to roll a natural 1, it is an automatic failure on whatever you are attempting. Conversely, if you roll a natural 20, it is an automatic success at whatever you're attempting. When you roll a D20, there is something called a difficulty class. The difficulty class is the number that you either need to meet or beat in order to succeed at your task, whether it be picking a lock or hitting an enemy with your axe. In this case, let's just say the DC is 15. And would you look at that, we got lucky this time. The last thing you need to know is there's a certain code to how dice rolls are determined. First, there will be a number. Second, there will be a D. Third, there will be another number. And then eventually that gives you an output. So in practice, this means that if it says to roll 1 D20, it means you roll 1 20-sided dice. And after that, you get an outcome. In this case, it was 3. However, sometimes you may need to roll multiple dice. So for example, it might have you roll 2 6-sided dice, and in this case, that turns out to be 9. Now that you've got the basics of the D20 system down, we encourage you to find your local game shop in order to go meet up with other warriors, mages, and thieves to start your adventure.